Good afternoon to one and all present here. On behalf of the Department of Sociology, I'd like to give my warm welcome to our Vice Principal, Dr. Jules, Dr. Terence Mukia, Dean and IQSC Coordinator, HOD Mr. Sanif Century, my dear faculty members and dear students. We all are in an ontological journey. We all are seeking reality, truth, and researching in an everyday life. I feel extremely pleased and honored to be a part of this pre-submission seminar by our very own students of 6th semester. I'm sure that you all feel enriched after completion of this event. I welcome you all once again to the seminar and I hope you all will have a great time ahead. And I request our supervisors to kindly take the seat. Ma'am. Now I welcome Dr. Jose to say a few words and encourage our young minds.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice that we are organizing this pre-submission seminar the way it's supposed to be done. So I want to thank Samir sir and all the others, Sophia ma'am and Nomu ma'am and all the others who have taken the trouble to get this organized and done very professionally, and all the supervisors, both Sumina ma'am and Edna ma'am, the others who have been part of this journey for you. I know I have put out here as a guide to help us. And all of you have taken this to your heart and taken the trouble and the time to get this done quite seriously. While walking around on the corridors, I could find that the students of sociology were quite serious about their work, especially preparing for this. It's not a big research paper, but in your own limited ways and limited time, you have made effort to get something organized, and that's something I'm sure this experience will help us in the future when you go to further study or any other research work. This will kind of stand to assist you. One complaint that people have against us Indians is that we are very poor at research. We are very good at copying, but we are very good at creating content, new content. But we tend to copy and paste material from other sources. So one thing that you should keep in mind while we do research, I myself are doing research, and so is that we have to try to be as original as possible. It is easy to copy and paste things from here and there. And for us in social science, we have the advantage that we have the possibility of collecting quantitative data, whereas many others have to sit and read, and it is mostly qualitative. So we have, in that sense, not exactly easy, but we have possibility of collecting data and creating authentic materials, research data. So whether it be a small research or big research, minor, major, whatever, our focus must always be trying to be as authentic, as truthful as possible, not manipulating data. Having said that, I want to appreciate all of you who have made this effort in this limited time that we had with the examination coming around. Got ready with this and for having made this effort. And I wish you all the very best, both at this seminar with the presentation and for your paper, and also in the future when you are engaging in research, think that that we have to be authentic and we have to be truthful and we have to work hard. So once again, my appreciation to all the faculty of Sociology department and all of you, the third years who are participating in this pre-submission seminar. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jose, for your enriching words. Now we have with us Dr. Terence Mukia. We'll also share the chair here today. So I request to say a few words from your side.
Respected Brother B. Jose, Vice Principal, Sir Samit, Head of the Department, and my colleagues from the department and my dear students. happy to see that research enigma in the Department of Sociology, and you have given a kickoff. And you know, after having gone through these laborious days, we have not remained the same. So your Welton Shaw, which we call worldview, has been broadened, isn't it? So a room of one zone, we have heard about that, right? Now you see there are many doors and windows, and you have a lot of opportunities when you take up research like this to consider things from various perspectives. And therefore your vision enlarges. Therefore, one of the reasons why we encourage research is we dare to be original. And at the same time, with the help of our innovations and originality, we want to bring some transformational force. And that goes from you and me. So it does not need to come from others always. Why not you and me be that transformational force, bringing change in me first and affecting the society in a positive way. So thank you, sir, and dear students, for undertaking this research, which is also a part of undergrad UG research, but you have this in your syllabus. And you really have delved deeper into this arena, and I wish you all the best, and thank you for your cooperation. I hope everything will go on well. After this, you will be submitting, and you see, we are serving as the example here. I have cited this particular example to other students to whom I was giving a kind of theoretical framework yesterday and day yesterday. And I think second in line will be the students from English honors. 9 of them, they have more or less finished. And like this, we go ahead like burning and shining. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful words. Now, I welcome some sir to kindly shed light on the significance of the seminar.
Thank you, Ms. Sophia. Good afternoon, respected Vice Principal, Mr. Jose, our dean, Dr. Terence, my dear colleagues, and my dear students. Today, after after a lot of hard work that our students have put in, and we are being able to organize this pre-submission seminar. And after having gone through what Father Dr. Tommy Augustine has said, as a coordinator of Sociology Research and Publication Center. So in line with what my father was trying to bring about a kind of culture, research in our campus. So, but since we had this paper, fieldwork and dissertation in our syllabus, but this is for the first time that the Department of Sociology is organizing pre-submission seminar. But other than this, we used to do some sort of dissertation, some sort of fieldwork, but never as such as systematic as this time that we have tried to. I would like to congratulate all the students of the Department of Sociology of 6th semester who had gathered the courage to present their work in front of the research, research advisory committee, which was headed by myself, which we formed according to the guidelines laid by the Sociology Research and Publication Center. Definitely, we want to put up, hardcore research activity in our department, and I think this is the first step that we have taken. Definitely, we are trying to improve every year. We have to be at times very much demanding from our students, and though we have been setting deadlines, but sometimes because of one reason or the other, they tend to extend. But nevertheless, today we are here. I know they are still working on their dissertation, but somehow partly or like some of them has covered like 90%, 75%, whatever it is. But they have come up with some sort of pre-submission seminar, as they will be having their external examiner from here on any of the day between 1st June to 17th of June. So we are in a hurry to complete it, but I think the vision and the quality will not be diluted. So with this, I would like to congratulate you all. Thank you.
thank you to our HOD, most energetic and hardworking HOD in the college, I'd say. And we have 4 presenters today. I'd say these are the budding social scientists. And they will be speaking on various topics, but there are some points to be taken into account here. First point is presenter will get 10 minutes to present their paper. And after that, the floor will be open for question answer session. And the second point, after the completion of entire presentation, supervisors will get special chance to share their observation. So without further ado, let us begin our presentation. First up, we have the Bachelor Aside. She will be presenting on a sociological study on the impact of Korean wave on the female students enrolled in Salesian College, Sonada. So Bibashna, please.
Hello. Thank you so ma'am. Good afternoon, respected Brother Vice Principal, Dr. Terrence, our HOD, Mrs. Sami Julie, and all the faculty present here, and all the first year students who have, first and second year students who have come here to, for this pre-start seminar. I'm Bachelor Society from Department of Sociology, and my dissertation topic is a sociological study on impact of Korean wave among the female students enrolled in Salesian College, Sonada. I would like to begin with my introduction. So I'd like to start by saying that human beings are social animals. We have various groups for identification and recognition. Moreover, we have different styles of living. So there can be various layers inside the same culture, which is very evident in our Nepali culture, in our Indian culture as well. Culture is the combination of shared values, norms, and beliefs of people. Culture change is influenced by a variety of factors, one of the significant being proximity of other cultures. Acculturation occurs when people of one culture attempt to alter or adapt to a different culture. To direct or indirect contact and interaction, one group learns the cultural features of another society. This aids in the evolution of society and the improvement of the standard of living of the individuals, attempts to adapt to a better aspect of other cultures. The term Korean wave or Hallyu refers to the rise in popularity of Korean culture throughout the world. The Korean common culture, which has mostly disseminated through broad communication, is currently gaining a lot of attention outside of Korea. The Korean wave has been here for a while, that is, since the 1990s, but with the growth of internet and streaming service penetration in India, and the pandemic, which actually acted as a catalyst, provided people more time to investigate foreign cultures and entertainment. A fun fact, Samsung is a Korean brand which originated in Seoul, South Korea. The Korean wave Hallyu is primarily comprised of TV dramatization, films, popular music, motion picture stars, movements and comedies, as well as the most recent design, that is beauty products, home appliances, which goes emphatically to things like movies, moldings, paintings, food, tourism and dialect. Adolescent and youth of age group 18 to 27 are the ones who are mostly influenced by the Korean wave. Today's new generation is remarkable and they are acutely aware of their surroundings. I'd like to state my objectives now. My objectives for the dissertation were to study the significant influence of Korean culture on the lifestyle of female students enrolled in Salesian College, Sonada, to observe the involvement of the female students in daily Korean lifestyle, to assess the degree of acculturation of Korean culture. The research methodology which I have used is, the type of research I have done is a hybrid research design adopted using qualitative and quantitative method. Sampling, a hybrid of purposive and snowball sampling was done for the research, where purposive sampling is also known as judgmental sampling, where I purposely choose persons who, in my judgment, were appropriate for the characteristics required for the sample members, and subsequently they referred me to other students in our college who would fulfill this criteria. The sample size which I have taken is 20 female students from different departments. The questionnaire was a self-administered questionnaire consisting of closed-ended and open-ended questions, and these questions were asked through an online Google form. The type of scaling which I've used in this research is Likert scaling. Likert scaling is used to determine the relative intensity of different statements. That is, I posed them with a statement and they were given 4 to 5 options to agree or disagree with a particular statement. And the data analysis, I've done it through a pie chart. My area of study is Salesian College, Sonada. It is a government-recognized minority education institute of Catholic Church run by Salesians of Don Bosco, Kolkata province, where over 1,400 students do their regular BA, BCom, and BSc studies under the North Bengal University. The college retained its A grade in the third cycle starting from May 2019 as the first college to receive such grade under the University of North Bengal. Next is a review of literature. What is a review of literature? A literature review is a comprehensive summary of previous research on the topics. The literature review surveys scholarly articles, books, and other sources relevant to a particular area of research. I have done 10 review of literature, out of which 3 I have given as example. First is the cultural proximity and hybridity, popularity of Korean pop culture in India, written by Kanozia and Gangaria, and this article talks about how in the last 2 decades, the popularity of Korean pop culture has taken over the world by storm. Be it Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, the K-pop craze is increasing day by day, and I think this is very evident when you open your social media apps and see every now and then another K-pop idol or another K-pop group. The next review of literature I've given is the Korean Wave Retrospect and Prospect, which is given by Jin and Yoon in 2017, discussed about the Korean Wave making a historical point and celebrating its 20th anniversary in 2017. The main foci of this journal is about the major characteristics of the Korean Wave in the 21st century and how it is more distinguishable from other transnational popular culture. Transnational means extending or operating across national boundaries. Because it has developed several forms of popular culture and digital technologies at the same time and exported them to both Asian and Western countries. My third review of literature is Korean Wave Made in India, Gorged and Loved, Made in Korea, Gorged and Loved in India, which was an article in the Hindustan Times written by Sinha in 2021. In this article, Sinha talks about how K-drama, K-pop, K-beauty, and K-cuisines is on the rise. I'm sure everyone is familiar with K-cuisines like kimchi, kimbap, and most of you must have tried ramen. So this is how acculturation is taking place in our Indian society. The effect of Hallyu has widened the dictionary of culinary terms. And in terms of K-beauty, glass skin, face sheets, snail nukins, and more have taken off the rage in India. I'd like to proceed to my findings. So my questionnaire was 4 sets. Each set had 10 questions each. 3 of those sets were done using Likert method, that is, proposing them with a statement and giving the options to agree or disagree with the statement, out of which I have chosen the answers which justify my objective. So these are just examples of few of the answers which I have taken. So my first objective was significant influence of Korean Wave, in which the 20 respondents which I had taken, 100% of them agree that Korean media like K-drama, K-pop has had a significant influence in their attitude, behavior, habits, and the way they think and see life. Next slide. My second objective was engagement with Korean content. I'd asked them how long have you approximately been engaged in Korean content in years, and these were the results, where about 35% have said that they were engaged with Korean content for more than 5 years, 40% 3 to 4 years, and 25% 1 to 2 years. I'd also asked how often do you listen or watch Korean related media, to which almost the majority, that is 60%, they agreed to, they said that they listened or watched Korean related media on an everyday basis. Acculturation through the Korean wave, this is my last objective. Also, I'd asked, I posed statements to which they had to agree or disagree again. Because of Korean wave, I'm learning Korean, to which 80% have agreed to it. Korean wave has made me want to experience traditional Korean culture, to which 100% have agreed that they have inculcated this Korean culture, and they are trying to adapt to it, trying to bring that in their lifestyle, in the ways they talk, their behavior. My major findings were as such. The findings indicate that majority of the respondents have been engaged in Korean content. 100% follow Korean celebrities on social media. 80% of the respondents are learning the Korean language to understand the Hallyu wave better. It also indicates that 95% of the respondents now wish to travel and visit South Korea due to the exposure of the culture through social media. 75% of the respondents have actively consumed Korean products. 90% of them view Korean idols as good role models. It also indicates that 100% want to experience traditional Korean culture due to the manifestations of the Korean wave, and they prefer learning the language to understand the culture better. 65% of the respondents have invested in Korean products. In my major findings, I would also like to elaborate on the concept of soft power. I'd like to describe first what soft power is. Soft power means the ability to get what you want through attraction rather than coercion. So it arises from the attractiveness of a country's culture, political ideals, and policies. So using this Korean wave as a soft power instrument, South Korea has managed to sweep the world with its cultural influence. That was my quantitative research. For my qualitative research, I've done case studies, 5 case studies out of the 20 respondents, and these are the analysis and findings. The first and the foremost thing that attracted the respondents to the Korean wave was the aesthetic attributes, which was then followed by the food, the drama, the music, and the Korean beauty products. The respondents also observed noticeable impact on their peers, which enhanced their interest as well. It was also concluded that the impact of the Korean wave was in terms of fashion was very extensive, which is very evident in our college as well, where you see most of the students wearing oversized clothes. Even though some you can alter or improvise on your clothing. Majority was of the view that the administration they had for the Korean culture, K-pop in particular, transcends the language barrier. 100% of the respondents have been greatly influenced by the K-pop group Bangtan Sonyeondan or BTS. And I'd like to quote one of the respondents. The respondents admired and appreciated them for their philanthropic efforts. And one of the respondents was of the view that BTS's message of loving yourself wasn't just limited to their songs and albums. The group took one step further and started the Love Myself campaign in collaboration with UNICEF in November 2017. It promoted self-love and mental health message to the world and encouraged the youth to love and appreciate themselves more. I'd like to conclude by saying that the purpose of this study was to investigate the impact of Korean wave among the female students in Salesian College Sinada. The results of the study revealed facts which were all the respondents had a positive perspective of the Korean wave and they were greatly influenced by the same. Particular emphasis was placed on the dramas, series, variety in shows, K-pop music. K-pop dramas and K-pop music is a fundamental part of the Korean wave because they have been widely accepted by foreign audience looking for something new. They are increasing awareness about all the aspects of the culture, not only in our nation, but across the globe. Due to increasing popularity, India is being considered as the potential hub for Hallyu waves. So this exposure of different aspects have made the Indian fans, as well as most of the respondents, 100% of the respondents in my research, to visit Korea and to explore it themselves. Next slide. So these are some of my references, and I'd like to end my presentation here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vikashna, for your wonderful presentation. And indeed, this Korean wave is new kind of sociological study which we all should take up actually. We can see the popularization of Korean food and so on. So the floor is open for question and answer session. If you have any questions, then you may please place to us.
Yeah. So you see, I liked your presentation very much. Congratulations. It is substandard and you have maintained that quality. Just now we were talking about that sampling method which you have chosen, no?
Yes.
And there is a suggestion from faculty side that random sampling would be better, okay, instead of snowball which you have taken, no? Anyway, I learned some new things from here. Okay, thank you very much. And I did not know about this, that it had so much of impact on the female students of Salesian College Sonata. It's good to know, no? And Edna Ma'am guided you, know, she has done a wonderful job. And actually, even some of the, I will control saying that, no? I'm sorry, I cannot say that. So you have done a wonderful job, that's what I'm saying. And this can be converted into an article, no? Article, and you can publish it. This is of high quality, I tell you. Number of those samples that you have taken can be increased, you know, and you can rework at it. If you want to really publish in a very, very standard journal, it will be accepted, I tell you. From my experience, I tell you, but only this 20 will do, that's for your own research, you know. But what is wonderful.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So please excuse me, I have to go. Look, I stayed for one presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Terence, for being with us. Okay. Yes, Vipassana, it was a wonderful presentation. I have some suggestions with regard to this, but since our students of the Salesian College, they are following now. I'd like to say, if you could add this idea, how do they compare, and see Nepali culture, in comparison with the Korean, and along with, what are the encounters that they face, from the parents or from the elders, when in sort of like in the process of, while they are following this particular course. Okay, so if you can make some comparative study also, I think that will add to some dimensions. Okay.
Hello, Vipassana. I would like to heartily congratulate for doing such a fantabulous job there. I think it's of a standard, and I really liked it. And like Terence sir said, I think you can publish it too. I had this. We were just discussing with Terence sir with regard to sampling. I think you need to really look into that. It should be random. Snowball really doesn't fit. I personally feel that. And at the same time, I think you should also, if you could draw the parameters, like if you're looking into the food culture to the, the variables, if you could make it a little bit more clear, I think that are the two areas I think you need to work on. Others, the way you explained about the wave, I was really concerned about when you put the topic itself as wave. I was concerned whether you're going to explain that, and that was there. So I think a fantastic job done there. Thank you.
Brother, do you have any questions? Or any suggestion for Vipassana?
She did a wonderful job. Vipassana was really well presented and well thought out. Maybe you could expand the scope of this as others also said, not limited to Salesian College and maybe to random sampling method. Honestly, I didn't know about this Korean wave. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. I heard about Korean War, but I never heard about Korean wave. Okay, and maybe few more references, I can add that would be wonderful. Otherwise, very well done. Now that I heard about this Korean Wave culture, actually I had the option of also going to Seoul for a program. So maybe maybe I will choose now that place over the others after hearing a presentation. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vipashna.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now we have Brother Aloysius Min, and he will be presenting his paper on the role of media on press and religion. Please welcome Brother Aloysius.
So good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon.
My topic is the role of media on priests and religious. Religious live in this era with internet, technology and applications. The methods of relating to one another have changed and it continues to change and progress. As a human person, a religious desire truth, relationship, love and justice. Next slide. Objectives. To find out whether social media helps in the formation of priests and religious. To discover how far it is harmful to priests and religious. To find out how it can be better used in the priestly and religious life. Next. Methodology. A methodology is usually a guideline system for solving a problem with a specific elements such as phases, tasks, methods, techniques, and tools. Next slide. Now, review of literature. A literature review is a search and evaluation of available literature in your given subjects of chosen topic area. It documents the state of the art with respect to the subjects or topic you are writing about. Next. A literature review has four main objects. It surveys the literature in your chosen area of study. It synthesizes the information in that literature into summary. It critically analyzes the information gathered by identifying gaps in current knowledge, by showing limitations of theories and points of view, and by formulating areas. Next. Now, I would like to talk about different media's tools used for communication in Christian ministry. What are the tools they use in order to spread the message, that is gospel message? They use print media. Print media is they use print media in order to spread gospel messages. And second, they broadcast media. And third one, they use television to spread the gospel message. And last one, radio. We had the vivid example of radio. We have radio here. So sometimes we also listen on the radio. Religious and priests, they spread the gospel messages through radio also. Next slide. Now the next topic is effectiveness of preaching through electronic media. What is the effect? To effectively use a social media platform as a tool in preaching is seen as playing a key role, especially in reaching out a large audience. Through this topic, I would like to say that priests and religious all over the world cannot go, so they use this electronic media to spread the gospel throughout the world. Next. And here we see church media team responsibility. What is the responsibility? to coordinate among the sound crew and video presentation, group schedule of workers so that each service is appropriately staffed, to set up necessary microphones, monitors and other sound system, equipment that is needed in each service. These things is arranged in order to spread the gospel messages. Next slide. To find creative ways to increase the sound system services of the church, such as making recordings for homebound, achieving services, recording, etc. Next. Now, the topic is Christian Media Ministry. What is Christian Media Ministry? The objective of the media ministry is to carry the gospel of Jesus Christ to a visually driven, ever-changing world through the use of technology and media, and to equip other ministries of the church to use digital and electronic media as worship and outreach tools. Next. So conclusion. Conclusion, I would like to say that, as I said earlier, priests and religious cannot go everywhere to preach. So they use the media to spread the gospel values. So one of the vivid example I would like to say that we have COVID. We had COVID. So priests and religious, they didn't manage to go to preach. So we had, for Catholics, we have online masses. So this is the vivid example to use social media. So I can say that it is a blessing for us to use for a good purpose to spread gospel messages. Thank you. So to be honest to myself, actually I was not ready for this presentation. So actually first chapter only I missed. I think from pendulum got deleted. So actually whatever I had, I prepared. It is actually I was not ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Alex. That was wonderful actually, to merge the institution of media and also the institution of religion into one frame. It itself a very interesting topic. So I guess our supervisors, they have some suggestions for you and maybe the questions.
Hello brother, good job there. Okay, you can still work on it. It doesn't matter how much you've completed and all of that. So my suggestion is, so since you're looking into the influence of media, right? Why don't you take this timeline of this COVID situation where the priests use technology as a means to reach out to people. So you have to see the percentage and the amount of media that they use. So your focus should be on that, not like what are the equipments that they use and so forth. That can come in the description, but your finding should be how much did they use. So you can take different churches, okay, or the different like we have St. Teresa's here, right? And we have Darjeeling. So we can take at least 2 churches and then bring out the findings from there, instead of just stating. Alright. Yeah.
Brother, I don't have anything much to say about your presentation. The topic is new and it's interesting. I just want to say that I've always seen you putting in a lot of effort. So kudos to you and good job.
Brother Alex, I think you need to make some this inclusion in you have to talk to your respondent first. Okay, prepare the questionnaire. Okay, and you go to the your colleagues and friends, and then also do some study there. Okay, along with your questionnaire. I think that is something that you need to do. And if you have shown us your methods Okay, and your sample size, I think that would have been, much better. Okay, but considering the fact that you have lost your data, I think, you should have kept some backup there. Okay, I hope at the time of submission you will definitely complete it.
Thank you, Brother Alex. Now we have one of the most interesting guy from Sociology department, Anitya Thapa. And he will be presenting a paper on a sociological study on waste management.
Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Ma'am, Sunna ma'am, Namu ma'am, and all the students present here. My topic is sociological study of waste management. So, the introduction of waste management. Waste management is a strategy or an organization used to dispose, reuse, and treat waste. You all know, right? So I don't need to go through this. Go next page. The area of study I chose is the area of study I chose is Sonada. You all are aware of that landfill area. So it was like difficult for me to choose the topics. No, like prior to this, I did 3 topics on behavior, social behavior, facts. I don't know what I was thinking then. So, a short introduction on the landfill area. The dumping landfill between Solana and Godavari came into existence between late 90s and the beginning of 21st century. Before that, people used to dump their wastes on streams of Kolkoti, the emission area, which resulted in the pollution of the stream. So, Mr. Hira Rai, or state of Dingdong village, gave his land as a dumping zone for monthly wage 200 rupees, and committee was formed, the Nagari Kalyan Munch, in 2015 regarding the waste management, the president of which is N.R. Bhutia. And so, like, the dumping field came into existence around 2000s, and it's 2022 already. It's been like 22 years of the waste deposition there. So, what I found is Mr. Maitaraj Sitri, he's a worker there. So, he's been working there since 2000, and at average, he throws or dumps like 3 tons a day. So that means it's 1095 tons per year, which is a great concern. In and the fact that it is below the National Highway 55 makes it prone to landslides, which can cause great casualties in future if not taken any initiatives or measures. And what I found is, I asked a question in the questionnaire. It was like, have you witnessed, not has any audit, governmental audit or initiative has been taken to the management of that particular landfill? So the most of the respondents were no, or they were not sure, but what I found out while interviewing Mr. That guy, no, he said that it's been like 3 or 4 months. The video also came, he came and surveyed the waste deposition landfill down there, and they will provide further notice in 6 or 7 months. So it's been like uh, we objectives are to study the waste management in the software, analyze the problem of waste management, to analyze the quantity of waste deposition on the landfill area, to study the initiative taken by the government. The methodologies I use is taking qualitative research, the review of literature. I have done like 11 review of literatures, out of which I have shown 5. The first show environmental effects of landfill. It says that the potential and real environmental effects on soil, plants, on water, organisms, and humans by exposure of municipal refuse by landfill area. Second, landfill siting using geographic information system. This paper analyzes the effect of varying the relative importance of various siting criteria, landfill size and location, restriction, stability. The third one, sustainable practices for landfill design and operation. The intent of this paper is to serve as a reference guide of regulatory, personal, and practical tools for designing and engineered to build on for site-specific or comprehensive study for researchers who are continuing to explore new and better ways to more sustainable waste management. Uh, last on sustainable municipal solid waste in India policy agenda by Samla Nani and Satpal Singh suggests that policy agenda for sustainable is solid waste management needs to drive behavior change among citizen, elected representative and decision makers to minimize waste and maximize reuse and recycling. I took 2 interviews of people working there. The person next to me is like Mr. Nitaraj Shetty. He is the worker since 2000. Uh, so I said that waste has been increasing day by day, and workers are also facing problems. Not only management of the waste, but also in factors like low waste and facility adds to their grievances. I had a questionnaire out of which 57 respondents through questionnaire circulated via WhatsApp. Some of the case studies or answers were like positive effect of COVID-19. Like Ugin Srepa is from English department earlier with this basketball, a renowned basketball player. He said that human activities yeah, Ugin effect of COVID pandemic. He said that uh, there was no snow falling about 20 years in Sonada. So this year the snowfall happened because there was lockdown and human activities were reduced, and so the environment was in a healthier manner, and with all these crucial role attitudes towards environment. The management it is given by Ponjit. Conclusion. Human activities bear imprints on environment, and something that already exists cannot be prevented from rising, but changing the attitude of people towards
Environmental sociology is one of the new domain which we have in sociology, and it feels nice to see the very own student of our department is doing something on the landfill which we see in an everyday basis. And I'd like to request supervisors to give some suggestions. Or any questions from the students?
Okay, Anil, you have made an effort to at least to present something. That is a good thing. And there's a lot of scope in this particular area of research that you are doing. Okay, because now if you take up this research seriously, I think this will definitely provide some sort of solution. For us, whoever is concerned in this waste management area. So you need to look in much more details. Okay, you just see how who are the prospect waste generator. Okay, and what, as you told, like the infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure that we can set up, comparing, like the kind of waste management that is taken up in Darjeeling municipality or Kosa municipality, and what is the lack you need to see, because the local people are just bringing in whatever transport, just dropping it there. There's no any regulation. Anyone can drop here, and in fact, the ones who are the waste generators are not just from this Sonata area, but I think from Goom and from Darjeeling and Jorbonglo, all those they bring in their own private vehicles and they just dump it there. So you just see what are these um, probable part that this the local authority, I think the local panchayat, along with, as you are mentioning, the block development officers, how they are trying to reduce this. Okay, so are they totally trying to shut it down, or are they will be following like recycle, reuse, and reduce methods? Okay, those are the things I think that you need to look into it. You have a uh, much work to be done. Thank you.
Anindya, congratulations. At least you came up with the topic after going through so much of trouble and struggle of confusion and whatnot. I completely understand. I think you really seriously need to work on your methodology. I got confused whether it's a descriptive research or whether it's an exploratory one. I think you need to identify that attached with your objectives, which is not really very refined. So that's what I personally felt, and I think you need to work on that, and rest everything will fall in place. Thank you.
Okay, Anidya, thank you. Next, we have Anisha Pradhan, and she will be presenting on women education in Dange Basti Bisanbari.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. Today, I, Anisha Pradhan, would like to present my dissertation topic, that is women education in the Basti Zanbari. Here, I try to look at the women development in terms of education. Introduction. Education makes us capable of acquiring new skills and being able to communicate with others in a civilized manner. Women education in India is necessary as women education is a foundation stone for the empowerment or development of women. And education brings a reduction in inequalities and functions in empowerment of the status within the family and develops the concept of participation. Education empowers girls to achieve more in their social, career, economic, and family lives. Education is considered the most important tool for empowering women in society. It is not only limited to developing the personality of an individual but also plays an important role in economic, social, and cultural development objectives. To know how educated the women of rural areas are, to know the education system in rural areas, to study various issues and challenges in educating women. Methodology. A methodology is simply an outline of the tools, techniques, and procedures used within research study to gather data, analyze it, and implement it. It explains the steps took during the research. In other words, it is a technique used by the researcher for studying problems. For my study, I adopted following methods. Firstly, primary data, where household survey, interview method, case study, and participation observation are done. And secondly, secondary data, where article, journal, books, newspaper, internal source are used. Review of literature. Review of literature. Kumar Baro Saranya. Here I have done 11 reviews of literature, out of which I would like to give two as an example. Firstly, Kumar Baro Saranya, 2014. In their study, Employment and Educational Status, Challenges of Women Empowerment in India, explain us the importance of women work in rural and urban areas, which help in the development of society. In this study, also focuses the equality of gender. Secondly, Manav Agrawal, 2014, in his article, A Study on Challenge for Women Empowerment, this study focused on the education of women so they can get the chance of equality. Women were kept away from education for a long time. Now the time is to give them proper education. Findings. My findings are 30% of women are still uneducated, 85% of people supported women education. In some cases, men are more educated than women. In older times, women education was not supported as it is supported now. Conclusion. Women education is very important for the development of a country. It is necessary to provide girls and women with proper resources so that they can get educated. Girls and women have the potential to contribute to the economic development of their countries. They can also play an important role in the development of their families. Therefore, it is necessary to pay more attention in women education. Here are some references. Thank you.
Thank you, Anisha, for your presentation. Any suggestions? Yeah, please.
Hi, good job there. Now, I am really confused with your objective. The second objective that you have said, I think it is not appropriate. You have just generalized everything. What is the second objective? Improve the education system of the rural, whereas your topic is?
Women education.
Of?
Rural area.
Of?
My area, Gambhir.
Then your objective is, so who are you going to look into? It's too huge you've made. So please work on that. Objective is very important. Okay, good job.
Yes. Hello. Yes, it was a nice presentation, Anisha, but I think you have to, reframe your objectives, and along with that, you need to make a proper questionnaire with which you have to, talk to your respondent. Okay, you have to observe it, and then you make some case studies. Okay, make some case studies and try to do some qualitative research. Okay, and I think we have some few days with that. If you go, definitely you can check your dissertation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anisha. Now we have Chogyal Sherpa. Chogyal Sherpa, you will be speaking on problems faced by the local tea estate workers, a case study of Singla Tea Estate. Chogyal, please cover.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. My topic is problems faced by local tea estate workers, a case study of Simla tea estate. Firstly, I like to start with my introduction. Darjeeling, described as the campaign of tea comes, and it is situated in the foothills of Indian Himalayas. Tea was first brought by Dr. Campbell in Darjeeling. He experimented with tea cultivation due to its cool weather and topography. The second is workers of tea garden. A brief outline about the employment pattern in Darjeeling with 40% of workers' population in the hills being employed in the tea industry, of which 80% of workforces are casual laborers and only 20% as permanent workers. And my case study is on the shutdown of Simla Tea Garden. Simla Tea Garden was located in Darjeeling Kolkata, CD block in Darjeeling district of West Bengal state. Situated about 15 kilometers from Darjeeling, the tea garden was owned by JC Group of Companies and declared suspension of work from 9 January 2020 after the labor allegedly attacked the tea state assistant manager with a sharp protocol. And the method I used in this research are the fieldwork was carried out on the month of March 2022. In this period, I stayed at Simla Tea Garden and interacted with the villagers intensively, so to collect data and information about the village. And my objective was to know the socio-economic life of the tea garden workers, benefits for the tea garden workers of Darjeeling Tea Garden, cause for the shutdown of Simla Tea Garden. And lastly, I like to end with conclusion. On the whole, we have seen that the tea garden workers of Darjeeling have their own sets of problems and difficulties. The tea, famous all around the world, tell us their own tales of workers' hard work, fighting with the heat in summer days. Along with these difficulties, people are facing is mainly because of no wage.
Okay, thank you, Chogyal, for your presentation. Now coming to the supervisors, do you have any suggestion for Chogyal? And I request students to please maintain silence.
Okay, that is a very good job. I think that's an ethnographic study that you've done. And what you need to mention is also that it is a participatory observation that you've done. And so make it a little bit more technical into it. If you delve a little bit more time and like invest yourself, I think this will turn out really well. Because you've said that it's a whole set is a case study, which none of them have done it. So I think your will be a pure ethnographic study and which can be done in more proper, manner. All right, good, congratulations.
Good, Chogyal, that at least you have presented. At least you have done something that that I was expecting, and you really need to do some serious find some respondent. Okay, go with your questionnaire. Ask them. You need to go down to the field. I know that. Okay, just having secondary data will not be enough. You have to go down, collect some primary data, and do some qualitative analysis. And I think it will definitely come out of it.
Thank you, Chogyal. Now we have Sudhanshu Guru, and he will be presenting on Problems faced by local business sector during the COVID-19 pandemic, a case study of Sonata Bazaar.
A very warm welcome to everyone. Before I start my presentation, I would like to thank all my teachers and especially my guide, Ms. Sophia Rai. Moving on, the title of my paper is Problems Faced by the Local Business Sector During the COVID Pandemic. I guess we all know what COVID is, right? Yeah. Is there anyone in this room who has no idea about what COVID is? Is there anyone? No. Moving on, nevertheless, coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are known to cause illness, ranging from the common cold to most severe diseases such as Middle East Respiratory Syndrome and severe acute respiratory syndrome. And in just 1 year, the world has changed drastically with hospital systems, vaccines, and face masks becoming the mainstay of our lives. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought countries to a complete standstill, reimagined normal living patterns and pushed the global economy into one of the worst recessions of recent times. This change orientation has adversely affected the global economy with uncertainty about future conditions worsening the situation. Indian businesses have also suffered the consequences of poor consumer demand, supply fluctuations, and lockdown restrictions, with them having to further work on the tightrope of restoring their production systems as well as keeping their employees safe. In such unprecedented times, it is crucial to synchronize the impact on business with the policy response by assessing the nature of the business impact due to the crisis. This research covers the local business sector on the New Cart Road, Sonada. Sonada is a center storm in the Jorbanglo Sukyapogari city block in the Darjeeling subdivision of the Darjeeling district in West Bengal, India. And the objectives, this research is proposed to identify how customers' expectations are influencing the business, to assess the supply of products during the lockdown, whether it was sufficient or insufficient, and to analyze the overall impact of the lockdown, to identify the mode of business during the lockdown, whether it was online or delivery, or it may be in-store pickup, and to evaluate the commodity prices during the lockdown, whether it was high or low. And for methods, I had the sample size of total of 25 households. It was based on simple random sampling. And for primary data, I have used interview. It was structured and unstructured. Case study was done and observation. For secondary data, I have used books, articles, journals, and internet. After collecting the information, a tabulation was done and a data analysis. I have done a total of 13 literature review, and these are one of those 3. And for the first one, it was written by the Times of India, and the name of the article was First of 3 Phase on Lockdown Begins Today, Was Open From and When. And the second one is by Srilakshmi and Pratap, and the name of the journal was A Study on Growth of Mobile Banking in India During COVID-19. Second one was done by P. Rai, and the name of the article was Consumers Buying Behavior and Challenges Faced by Consumers During the COVID-19 Pandemic Regarding FMCG Products. I'm sorry about this slide. I'm still. Yes. And for conclusion, after doing my research, I believe that the commercial sectors have been tremendously affected, and the local business are the key pillars of the Indian economy, but slowly things are falling back in place with the commencement of business sectors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sir. That was a wonderful presentation, I'd say. So, any suggestions and questions from the supervisors?
Okay, yes, Sudhanshu, it was a wonderful presentation, but there are a few suggestions from my side, okay? First of all, you need to limit your objectives, okay? You have numerous like 6 to 7 objectives which you must limit, and then the area of from the objective itself I could make out that it is very vast, and the time frame you need to keep in your mind, and this is one of the reasons why I think you have not been able to come to that conclusion part. So keep these things in your mind, so I think you'll be able to secure the situations. Okay, thank you.
I think Sir has already told you the part where you need to work on. I like the way you presented. I think after Vipassana, I think the way you sounded and the way you presented was good. And I think presentation is not just about the topic. It's about how you present, how you speak, and then your body language and all of that. So you are quite good at it. And at the same time, please work on your findings. If you don't know what your findings are, then how will you conclude? Okay, I think you need to work a lot on that. Anyways, good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhanshu. This is the message for all the students present here. This has been directed by HOD. You have to stay, till the end of the presentation, because this will help you in your future presentation or your future research which you are going to take up in your next semesters. And please maintain silence. Yes, so next up we have Devshika Kamang, and she will be presenting on a study on non-Nepali migrant in Sonada.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. Now, my topic is study of non-Nepali migrant in Sonada. So, as the definition now, overcoming to short definition of the term migration. Now, we have to discuss what is male migration, its causes, reason behind migration, and alternatively, on the other hand, the challenges and the issues faced by the female when she is left behind with wholesome responsibilities after her man gets migrated from his residence to a certain compulsion. For example, job opportunities, because in village areas where there is least chance of getting jobs and wages, which lead to the degradation of smooth functionality of one's household and the standard of living. So after reflecting upon the present utility of time and the need of his family member, being as the head of the family, mans are migrated to other place in order to suffice the basic needs and other requirements. As we all know that the patriarchal system is prevalent in society, and here patriarchy means male domination or the male as a head of the family. Somewhere or the other, even today, like in many places, we basically see or observe such system being prevalent. Like for example, male being migrated outside home to earn money and his wife being left out with responsibility, as I said before. So in patriarchal societies all over the world and in India in particular, an elderly male member of the family is considered to be the head of the household. A male symbolizes powers and authority in household structure, while a woman by large is treated as subordinated to the male in her various roles as wife, daughter, and even mother. Migration is a complex phenomenon, and an inquiry about the motives behind it is the most difficult part of the analysis of the process of migration. Not only that, the studies which have been conducted in the field are mostly of specific nature, and it is difficult to generalize their findings so as to make the same applicable in different situations. Now, area of studies. As my study covers an area of Daragaon, Sonada. Sonada is a census town in the Jorbangla Supervisors city block in the Darjeeling Southern subdivision of the Darjeeling district in Sonada, which is located at Darjeeling. My objective is to analyze the socio-economic problem faced by the people, to examine the push and pull factor of their migration, to find out the impact of migration of the male members of the family in relation to family functionality, to identify the reasons for migration among male members of the family. For this dissertation, both qualitative and quantitative information has been obtained from the primary as well as from the secondary sources. For the collection of primary data, information has been carried on by interviews. While filling the interview schedule, the following information like the name of the respondent, their age, sex, educational status, religion, marital status, and income has been collected. For the secondary data, I went through books, journals, and newspapers. Review of literature. Review of literature, I've referred to 11 articles and now I've just given 2 articles. The major findings were in my study, all the respondents who were interviewed had put out migration as the major reason. The large-scale migration of labor from rural areas to town and cities has been characterized by the predominance of unskilled, semi-skilled, and skilled male workers accompanied by their families. Migration of male is due to the cost of moving the family. To take the family would defeat the purpose of migration, which is often adopted as a short-term strategy to generate more cash and improve a household's standard of living. As a result, many families have been transformed temporarily into female-headed household. This has resulted into its implications on women and children. Migration often leads to the nuclearizing of family and greatest in decision-making power for the wife, usually at the mothers-in-law's expense. Other questions such as whether wives acquire greatest power via their husband or within the wider community, and more importantly, whether the charges would be permanent in nature, have remained much more controversial. I have done about 4 case studies on people who have migrated from different places in order to improve their livelihood. It can be seen in the case studies that not only men but women are also doing job. Through the case study, what I came to know is most of the labor migrants have migrated from the economic purpose, and for most of the cases, they are exploited on economic basis, cut off wages. They have been compelled to migrate and to work in unhygienic conditions for the sake of their need. The condition can still be improved if we cooperate with them rather than discriminating them between local people and by treating them equally. In this way, the migratory status of a person can never be justification depriving him of the enjoyment and exercising of his human rights, including those related to employment.
Thank you, Katrina, for highlighting one of the major sociological study on migration. We have supervisors here who will give you some kind of suggestion.
Yes. Yes, this is Sika. You have tried your best to present your topic, but there are some suggestions. Okay. So I went through your this objectives, and I think if you could include this comparative study, that first of all, I would like to say, you need to be sure of the number of respondents, number of the interviews that you are sampling. Okay, first of all, and okay, you are very much clear that because of economic purpose that they have migrated to Sonala.
Okay, but you see, from Sonada, many of the people, the local, the Nepali, original inhabitants of the Sonada have been going out. Okay, now as you are mentioning the pull factors in your, but I could not see that you have written what are the reasons why these non-Nepali migrants are coming to Sonada. Okay, because we have seen the viability that because of this economic some problems, that's one of the reasons why Nepalis are migrating. But what is the pull factor that is leading to a non-Nepali migrant to come towards Sonada and then work, isn't it? So you need to look into that, and also as you were trying to highlight the major problems that faced by the male migrants while they are coming here. So look into that, and then you do need to work on the field. Okay, just merely by your own value judgmental ideas that you have, it is not going to work. You have to be there. Okay, just four case study is not enough, because non-Nepali migrant will also comprise of different communities. Like Biharis, Marwaris, even in fact now Bengalis are also coming as this carpenters and other kind of labor. So I think you also need to take care of the variables. Okay.
Don't go yet, please go on the stage. I'm not done yet. And I'll be very genuine with you. You put my name for the supervisor thing. I think I don't deserve that designation there, because I did not supervise you at all. I've not met you even a single time. This is the first time I am getting to know about your topic and everything. Okay, so congratulations on the part that you did it all by yourself, but there's a big issue now. There's the topic itself and the objective that you have said and what you have studied is not matching. No, seriously. Because it is about migration you put. I am not understanding whether the problem is with the migration, or you're trying to say the person who is left alone is with the problem. So you're looking into those problematic aspects. So what is the area concerned that is not done? Now you're saying that the main area is of study is migration, but not much of finding is there about migration either. So you've just said survey observation, so it's not going anywhere. Not because I was not there and I did not supervise, but in logic, right? You yourself think for yourself, where is the connection between the topic and what you have said and the conclusion drawn? I did not see any. Otherwise, good effort, the way you spoke, the way you presented, very good. But the content needs to be worked on, seriously. Alright, so yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Krishna. I hope you will take all the suggestions. Next, we have Gracie Rai, and she will be presenting on online games addiction among youths.
Afternoon to one and all present here. Today I will be presenting my dissertation on the topic online game addiction among youths in solution on Sonada. I guess many of you all are aware about online gaming, right? Yes. So to begin with the introduction, I like to say that give a short meaning on online games. Online games refers to playing games over internet that incorporate virtual worlds consisting of numerous players simultaneously. While online gaming addiction refers to a compulsive or uncontrolled use of online games in a way that causes problems in others' area of the person's life. It also caters to a diverse range of interests such as sport games, action games, mission-based games, and more. It is widely popular among children and young adults who use mobile devices or gaming consoles to play games. Gaming consoles refers to PlayStation itself to play games. As I have observed that many of the students of our college are into online gaming, and I've also seen that many students playing games during short breaks, lunch breaks, and even in class hour. So to know the results behind this, all these gaming addictions, I focus on the area of our college self, and that's Solution College Sonada. Solution College Sonada is a government-recognized minority educational institution of the Catholic Church run by Solutions of Don Bosco, Kolkata province, where over 500 students do their humanities, commerce, science, and professional courses under the North Bengal University. Next slide. So the objectives are prepared for my research is to know the effects of online gaming addiction among youths and to discover the reasons behind youth addiction towards online games. The methodology I have applied for my research is the selection of the topic, the selection of the area, the methods of data collection, that is primary data and secondary data. In primary data, I have used the interview method and questionnaire method, and in secondary data, I refer to journals, articles, and books. In review of literature, I refer to the article that is Understanding Internet Gaming Addiction Among South Korean Adolescents Through Photo Voice, that is by Seo Park, Min-hee, and Young Park, where they studied that today's youth have many serious symptoms of online gaming addiction, which negatively affected their mental health and identity. Next article, I refer to the Journal of Social Sciences and Humanities by Jara, Asan, and Kiani and Sabat, where they have studied about the prevalence of internet gaming disorder among university students in Pakistan, and the methodology they have applied to this study is by presenting a sample of 315 students of graduation level of education, where they found that young students spend more time on internet games than others and are at a higher risk of developing gaming addiction. From the study, it was also found that males scored higher on internet gaming than females. From my research, I found that out of the 25 respondents, which included 20 males and 5 females, giving hours of the total hours that they spend on online gaming were 3 to 6 hours per day. And I've also found that males scored higher than female in terms of gaming addiction, and 75 of respondents, which included males and females, agreed that they use online gaming as a way of relieving their stress, and 82% of respondents did not live a healthy lifestyle because of online gaming, and online gaming also had an effect on physical health of the youths. And youths who are addicted towards online gaming spend less time with people. I'd like to conclude my research by saying that online gaming emerged as a popular and successful source of entertainment and it is played by people of all ages, especially the youths. Through this research, I have come to analyze that excessive gaming causes effect to physical excessive gaming causes effect to physical health, social interaction on the positive side. Online gaming also helps in relieving stress and making the mind sharper. At the end, it can also be concluded that online gaming has both positive and negative impacts in the real world. Thank you.
See, this is a very interesting topic, and I guess students who are present here could also get idea about this online gaming pros and cons. And yes, suggestions from supervisors.
I want to see the objectives to know the effect of online gaming addiction, to discover the reason behind addiction towards online gaming. Okay. And there's a problem. Now, we see I will not congratulate you on all of that. Anyways, good job with that. But then see, my serious concern is there's a problem with your data collection. You've selected only 5 girls and then 20 boys. So when you say that girls are less selected, obviously, because data collection is only 25 people, so it's already biased. Getting me? So it's not a proper data collection. So that itself is wrong. Alright. Now to know the effect of online, to discover the reason, I think there was another objective, I don't know whether you changed it or not. Effect, I know, to discover the reason behind the youth addiction towards online gaming. You already know the reason. Why do you think? PUBG is famous, so they play. So it's good again. I think that objective needs to be changed. So you cannot look into the gaming factor. Effect is fine. Okay. So that you can work on. I think those are the 2 areas. Rest, I think your findings are very good compared to any others. So yeah, good job with that.
Yes, it was a nice presentation, Gracie, but yes, definitely there's a problem with this, okay? See, this topic is very, very vibrant, okay? You have, whatever you have done in general, understood? So specifically, you need to narrow down your area, okay? You need to narrow down your area and also reformulate your objectives. And I'd like to suggest you could, yes, there's a problem with the number of respondents or the sample that you have chosen, definitely. But you can add, the person whom you have chosen, you can also see the other activities, not just gaming, but its effect on that individually. You can see their academics. It might also happen that a person who spends a lot of time in gaming may also prove out to be very good in academics also. Okay, so or the other way around. Got it? So you need to see that aspect also, because you just cannot become very value judgmental and just put a tag that gaming is bad. So because you as a researcher, you have to debunk the truth. Got it? Okay. So I think that is one of the aspects that you really need to look at. Thank you.
Reverend Bessie. Now we have Neha Tamang, and she will be presenting a paper on rural development with reference to Narega.
You're not coming tomorrow, no, Ashwin?
हाँ I have already sent.
Table time. Neha, you can present it later. We have Norgima Tamang Bomjan, and she will be talking on gender stereotype and Korean wave with special reference to BTS, a study of youths in Darjeeling Hills.
A very good afternoon to all the to everyone present today. I am Norkina Tamam from Sociology 6th semester, and the topic of my dissertation is Gender Stereotype and Korean Wave with special reference to BTS, a study of youths in Darjeeling Hills. Since we all are from sociology backgrounds, I hope you all are well acquainted with the term gender stereotype, and I think there are at least 5 or 6 who are into Korean culture and BTS. So to begin with the first slide. I would like to talk in brief about the following important terms. People often use the terms sex and gender interchangeably. However, it is incorrect. These two are totally different concepts. Though people think they are the same. Sex in simple terms refers to the biological difference between man and woman, or male and female, which includes reproductive organs, chromosomes, etc. And gender is a social construct which includes norms, characteristics, behaviors, and roles associated with being a man or woman, or boy or girl. There is a definition given by Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights on gender stereotypes. Gender stereotype is a predefined set of attitudes and behaviors that is believed to be the typical of all men and women. The Korean wave, Hallyu in Korean, includes Korean television dramas, films, music or K-pop, dance, and to a lesser extent, video games, food, fashion, language, etc. India's first encounter with Korean wave was in Manipur in the early 2000s. Owing to the ban on Bollywood and Hindu channels, K-dramas and movies were broadcasted by the local channels, which helped in the growth of popularity of Korean culture in India. The phrase Korean wave, Hallyu in Chinese, was popularized by the Chinese press a little over a decade ago to describe the popularity of Korean popular culture in China. BTS, an acronym of Korean expression Angtan Sangetan, or Beyond the Same in English, is a Grammy-nominated South Korean group of 7 members: RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. And they debuted in the year 2013 from the entertainment agency Dept Entertainment.
Hah? Yo. Lah sige sa isma orang. Next time. Oi pani dia naman.
So this is a pictorial example of the androgynous fashion of BTS, which has inspired the youth today. The objectives of my study are as follows: to study the influence and impact of BTS and the fluid way of expressing gender identity on the youths, to understand gender stereotypes through the eyes of the youths, to understand the perspective of the youths on masculinity and femininity, and lastly, to find out the influence of Korean wave on the youths. The type I have opted for is a mixed research of
qualitative and quantitative type, and the methods I have used are as follows. Number 1, selection of topic. To begin with my research, I explored all the areas of my interest and selected the topic which seems to be the most suitable for my study. Next, selection of field. I've chosen Darjeeling district as a whole for my study, and the method of data collection include primary data, which includes interview, questionnaire, and case study. Certain fixed questions were asked to every participant from the informant. A mix of both structured and unstructured type of interview was used. For questionnaire, a set of questionnaires including both open-ended and closed-ended questions were sent to the respondents for them to fill it up. Lastly, for case study, I have chosen 5 responses out of the 24 responses I received after the questionnaire method, and the secondary data includes articles, journals, and previously done research works, etc. Next is sampling. For sampling, I have used 2 sampling methods, that is simple random sampling and snowball sampling. After the collection of data, tabulation and calculation of the collected data was done, and lastly the analysis of the collected data was done to find out the results of the research. This is the graphical representation of the responses. Not all the graphs have been used. The major findings of my study: 91.7% of the respondents agreed that an individual's gender identity should not be judged by the way they dress or express themselves. 83.3% believed male gender stereotypes are stronger than female gender stereotypes, and 70.8% believed that males are more forced to change themselves to comply with the gender stereotypes. 91.7% respondents approved of men wearing makeup and androgynous clothing. 79.2% of the respondents agreed to be a fan of Korean popular culture, and 66.7% of respondents responded that soft masculinity is growing in popularity in Darjeeling district. 83.7% agreed that BTS has redefined masculinity. Lastly, concluding with my presentation, although the world has changed and progressed greatly, our society has yet to eliminate traditional gender norms and stereotypes that have been strongly ingrained in our culture for a very long time. Gender stereotypes and standards in society have the greatest impacts on youth. They are harshly judged and expected to adhere to societal standards. Today's youths have a different view on masculinity and femininity and a different way of expressing themselves compared to the previous generations. Such gender stereotypes and norms can be harmful to their mental health and well-being. In a situation as such, BTS, who advocates gender equality and self-love, have inspired millions of people globally by frequently defying rigid gender stereotypes and encouraging people to accept and express their actual selves in order to establish their individuality in the society. Thank you.
Yes, it was a good presentation, Notima. Yes, I would like to suggest you that you need to increase the sample size.
Okay, you have 24 samples, right? So you work on the sample. I think there will be a lot more variations. Okay. Did you also follow snowball sampling? Okay. So, and I think you also need to connect it with the theories. Okay. The theories by Michel Foucault's, like the gender and history of sexuality. If you just refer to these things, I think that can broaden your horizon definitely. And anyways, you have done a wonderful research, but I think if you incorporate these suggestions, I think it will have much more improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Nordima, for your wonderful presentation. Now we have Neha Naval now. She'll be talking on rural development with reference to Narega.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. The topic I have chosen for my dissertation is rural development with reference to MGNREGA. For my introduction, I have pointed out why rural development is considered to be of noticeable importance. Rural development is considered to be of noticeable importance because rural development is an action plan for the economic and social upliftment of rural areas, and it aims at improving the quality of life and people living standard. And to uplift the living standard of the rural people, Government of India has launched various schemes. Among all the schemes that is being launched, this MGNREGA is considered as most effective approach to develop the quality of rural life. And now I will point out the goals of the Act. The goals of the Act is to provide livelihood security for the poor through the creation of durable assets, improved water security, social conservation, and highly land productivity, and effective greater transparency and accountability in governance. Next slide. For my area of study, I have chosen Tagda Cantonment, and Tagda Cantonment is located in Rangliat subdivision of Darjeeling district in West Bengal. Next slide. For my objective, I have stated to analyze the performance of MGNREGA and to examine the benefits of MGNREGA availed by the respondents and what are the major challenges faced by the respondent as far as MGNREGA is concerned. Next slide. For my study, I adopted the following methods. Primary data includes household survey. I took a task of listing numbers of households, and the total number of households I covered was 20, and interview schedules. There, certain fixed questions were asked in every household for the information, and participation observation. I participated in the field to observe the situation, and case study. This is another fundamental method for studying a research problem which is being used in social research. I did 5 case studies. And in secondary data, I included articles, journals, newspapers, videos, and internet source. I'll not read out the review of literature, so next slide. So, findings were based on the interview and observation, where I could find the supervisor has the upper hand in terms of wage control. The labor of 100 days worker are manipulated by the supervisor to not work on the area and take a wage distribution among them, which is 50-50 between the supervisor and laborer. And people are suffering from decline in employment, budget gaps, delays in wage payments, and rampant violence of workers' entitlements. Next slide. I'd like to conclude by saying the rural development suffer from lower income, poor health care, and illiteracy, which adversely affect the quality of life. They are also slow in adopting new practices which are essential with the changing times, lack of knowledge on planning, implementing various authorities, laws and policies of the government about disabilities and issue at various levels of decision making. The negative attitude of the authorities and also the rural people are responsible for failure of the programs. One major problem is the lack of necessary and appropriate data. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Neha, for your presentation. Maybe Samipsa has something to say.
Okay, yes. Neha, well tried. Okay, you did a wonderful presentation, but I have some suggestions to you. See, since you are working with MGNREGA, and you need to increase the number of case studies. Okay, yes, definitely your findings are very much in general what is the fact is definitely has been highlighted, but I want you to look at it from some of the theoretical perspective also, because you see there are this categorization of labors. Okay, so we need to see this division of labor and their specialization. Definitely you need to look into that. Okay, you can apply some of the theories. Even if you try to look at some of the classical sociologists, I think you can relate with them. And also since there is this this thing wage related issue there, so you can apply the same thing, the kind of the exploitation between the one who has the who is in the authority in order to give the wages, and the one who is who does not have any so to say, they are not in a position to bargain about their wages, right? Because there also you can use one of the classical sociologists. You have I think you already have got in your mind, so you need to look into it. Okay, and see, you also need to be very bold. Okay, and come up with the courage to write the fact about what is happening into MGNRG. Yeah, definitely, because we are all aware about the good, the positive side of it. But our with what intention, with what aims and objective this policy has been implemented. That is the real situation in the field. See, there are also thing called social audit. Are the social audits happening properly, appropriately? Are these committees being taking up the right way of parameters that has been set? So please look into it. I think if you do some serious study with going, don't just look at one particular village. Okay, like the thing, you can also make comparative study between different words, okay, or also compare between different blocks, okay. There I think you can see the kind of work that is being done, okay. So thank you. I hope you will incorporate these suggestions.
Thank you, Neha. Now we have Prabhakar Pradhan. He will be speaking on Newari culture in Sanada, a sociological study. Please clap for our CR.
So, with a silky flute in a pumping heart, I would like to welcome our respected HOD, Mr. Smith Century, and faculty, Ms. Sophia Rai, and all my colleagues. So, born and brought up in a Newari community. So, my topic of interest was largely on my culture. Okay, that's Newari. So, my topic for the research paper would be like Newari culture in Sonada, or sociological study. So I'd like to thank my supervisor, Ms. Namu Sepa, who is currently not here. So I'd like to thank her for helping me out throughout this paper. So the next slide, please. So to begin with the introduction, basically Newar word is assumed to be derived from the word Nepal, which usually means people who lived in Nepal. So Newars are especially inhabited at Kathmandu Valley in different parts of Nepal, also in West Bengal like Kalimpong, Darjeeling, Sikkim, and even Bhutan. Newars in West Bengal comprises of approximately 25,000 people, which constitutes to 2% of the entire population of West Bengal. So that's according to the Akhil Bharatiya Newar Sangathan 2016. So the Newars of Darjeeling also fall under the category of other backward classes, that is OBC, which has been recognized by the government of West Bengal in 2005. So the majority of the Newars in Darjeeling are, supposedly they are Hindus and some of them are Buddhists and Christians as well. So next slide please. So my area of study is Upper Namike, Sonada Darjeeling. So to give a brief introduction to the area of study, so Upper Namike is a small village which is bounded by forests and tea garden. Sonada is nearest town, which is about 1 kilometer from the village, and Kashyap is about 20 kilometers away from it. So it is located under Darjeeling district. Balasai is situated towards the southwest of the village. Overlooking the beautiful girls is Gorido Nanichor in Texidas, which is a pilgrimage hub of Sonada. Next slide please. So my objective for this research paper would be to understand the Newari culture and traditions, to know the reasons for the practice of Borgiva, which is a popular custom among the Newari people, which is still prevalent among them. To learn about, and finally the last objective is to learn about Newari cuisine, its preparation and significance. Next slide please. So the methods that I have used for my research paper is firstly, to begin with, I'd like to define what methodology is all about. So methodology is nothing but it is the process which is usually used to collect information and data purpose of making research. So the methodology may include publication, research, interviews, surveys, and other research techniques, and include both historical as well as present information. So for this research paper, my research study is basically empirical in nature, and the data collected is qualitative in nature. I have used both primary as well as secondary data for my study. On the basis of primary data, it basically included participant observation, snowball sampling method, interview schedule, and through audio-visual methods, which includes photography and recordings. And for secondary data, I refer to books, journals, articles, and magazines, etc. So, I've viewed out of 10 review of literature, I've jotted down 3 review of literature, which you can see in the screen. So, first one is given by Gilna, 1991. So basically, the title of this article is Refusal, Tribalism, and the Position of Women, the Problem of Their Identity. And second one is given by Shrestha 1991. The title of the article is The Neva, the Indigenous Population of Nepal. And last but not the least, I have reviewed literature by Annie Bigoti 2017. So basically, the title of book was Religions of the East. So my major findings would be like the Nepali people residing in various regions of Darjeeling and other regions have been given development board by the government of West Bengal on 11th of November 2016 for the development of the Nepal community and to preserve their culture. The caste system is not prevalent among the Nevars of Darjeeling or the nearby areas of Darjeeling, which is basically seen in the case of Nevars of Nepal. So the Nevars of Darjeeling also do not follow the caste hierarchy as the Nevars of Nepal they do. So Nevars of Darjeeling also use the title Pradhan, a sub-caste in the Nevar hierarchy. And the last finding would be the Nevars of Darjeeling mostly speak Nepali as Nepali is the lingua franca in Darjeeling. Very few of the Nevars can speak Nepali language. So for the conclusion, I have so basically when it comes to a conclusion, I have given a short introduction to the culture. So culture, what is culture basically is? Culture is an umbrella term which encompasses the social behavior, institutions, and norms found in human societies, as well as the knowledge, beliefs, arts, laws, customs, capabilities, and habits of the individuals in these groups. So, Nevars perform a very important part in various regions of northeastern India, which includes parts of Darjeeling, Sonadar, Kalimpong, Bhutan, in other areas like those as well. The place where they are residing, and they are very rich in culture and traditions, and they have unique living styles. So in this present era of globalization and localization, there is impact of regionalization and modernization everywhere. So a traditional culture due to modernization and regionalization, somewhere like the rituals and cultures, they are not exceptional. So there has been changes, the way we live, behave, celebrate, and various other activities. So in today's Darjeeling Hills, where every tribe or community is trying to protect and assert its distinctive identity, the Nevars certainly show how its cultural distinctiveness can be preserved through the practice of Gurviva and other rituals. So next slide. So here are some references I jotted down. So with this, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, nice presentation, Prabhakar. Okay, congratulations for that. My suggestion is that, I think you have done lots of secondary, studied secondary data, okay, from the books and journals that you have, or the articles that you have collected from the internet, okay. But, I think you can add this particular perspective into it, the comparison, okay. A comparison between the kind of the Nevari culture that is followed in Nepal, and and then the kind of the culture that is followed in Darjeeling. Okay, so and in that we can see what kind of cultural changes and transformation that has occurred. Okay, especially in terms of Darjeeling, because as we consider in Nepal. That because we have migrated from there, okay, migration, the culture, and then in a confluence, because Darjeeling is a melting pot of all the cultures, okay. So here over a period of time, a lot of cultural practices has got diluted, first of all, okay. And also I think I was just trying to look into Belviva, that you have Belviva that you have mentioned in your objectives. So if you want to have a look at it, you just have a look at Belviva. It itself is a very broad topic, okay. And since you are doing this particular in general, okay, no problem. But I think this is a very huge topic for you to study at this, taking the factor that we have a time constraint with this limited time. Okay, so you just rethink over it, and you have some time. I think you can remodel your dissertation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Prabhakar. And we have now Ritika Tamang, and she'll be talking on, presenting her paper on challenges faced by LGBTQ community in Kashmir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Ritika Tamang. and my presentation topic
Stay back, we'll have photograph. Call them.
challenges faced by LGBTQ community in Darjeeling Hills. Starting with the introduction.
Call your friends. We'll have a photograph. Yeah? We need
LGBTs
to
and
keep it on a
acronym
record.
for
Yeah?
lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. LGBT is an acronym for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, etc. These are the terms used to describe a person's sexual orientation and gender identity. As these sexes are new to the society, people find it hard to accept the changes, so they fear or hate homosexuality. They become homophobic, and because of homophobia, LGBTQ community becomes a sensitive topic and are subject to harassment, abuse, violence, etc. In many countries, homosexuality is still considered a sin or a crime, which leads to imprisonment and is a punishable offense. Most LGBTQ people, especially in India, they remain closeted because they still face constant struggles within the boundaries, homes, families, schools, etc. Despite of LGBTQ being legalized, they also fear rejection by the families. That is why they don't come out easily. Area of study. As LGBTQ is a sensitive topic and people belonging to that community are not so open about their sexuality, I have chosen a number of 20 respondents belonging to that community from different regions of Darjeeling district. The objectives for my dissertation are to compile data collected through surveys and studies to identify areas and nature within which discrimination is experienced by LGBTQ persons, to summarize major challenges and struggles faced by the LGBTQ plus community, to analyze how most of the LGBTQ members are still figuring out their sexuality. Methodology. I have used quantitative type of research. The methods of data collection are primary data and secondary data. The sources of my primary data are questionnaire, interview schedule, and secondary data are books, articles, and journals. The sampling methods that I have used are random sampling and snowball sampling. Review of literature. I have reviewed a total of 8 articles and 2 books. Out of the 8 articles, one of them is Northeast India and its queer community, apart from the mundane, yet very much a part of it, by Shweta Rajkanwar. And the second one is Homosexuality and India. And the 2 books which I have reviewed is Same-Sex Love in India, A Literacy History by Ruth Vinita and Salim Kidwal, Law Like Love, Queer Perspective on Law by Arvind Narayan and Alok Gupta. Findings. Through my research, I found out that 40% of the respondents are bisexual, 20% are gay, and 20% are lesbians, and the other 20% are queer or questioning. 30% of them hasn't come out yet. More than 40% are not accepted by their families, and some of them hasn't come out to their parents yet. 70% of them has been threatened or abused verbally and physically. LGBTQ members face judgmental stares in public places. Lastly, I would like to conclude that in Darjeeling, the homosexual
here does not fear or arrest, persecution, or imprisonment. Here the homosexual fear harassment, discrimination, and not being accepted by the society due to their sexual orientation. The teenagers who are gay are often harassed by people in public places, often bullied in school or colleges due to their sexuality. Coming out trend is often hard in this society as individuals who are gay fear the criticism from the society. Dominated by the heterosexual society, the LGBTQ community have to deal with negative feelings and attitudes projected on them by the heterosexual people. Many LGBTQ individuals have to face homelessness because they are thrown out from their house for being gay or have to run away to escape the hate from the society. Today in our society, being gay is moreover accepted by the society. Lots of organizations has helped these new LGBT generations to be more comfortable about their sexual orientation at the previous generations. But yet social acceptance, equality, same-sex marriage is going to take a lot of time to be accepted by the society in India.
Okay, thank you, Radhika. Now I'd like to hand over this mic to Samipsa for a suggestion.
Okay, yes, thank you. Well presented, Radhika. Okay, but there is one suggestion for you. I think you have to work on the theoretical framework. Okay, so there are so many theories that has come up with the LGBTQ and the queer theories. Okay, so you have a look at it. Okay, and I think definitely if you try to relate with the gender and sexuality, I think you can come up with more concrete research, and yes, definitely there is scope that you can publish this particular work as well. But some amount of you go through primary data. Okay, first structure your questionnaire, and I think you also need to look at it, not just into the college or the thing. You need to go to the the area, the demarcated area, and then definitely I think your research work is concrete. Thank you.
I just missed the starting of it. I just know like halfway through. I think it's very interesting topic, very current topic. Yeah, so maybe we can expand the scope of it. That it applies to more, to the larger population. Because your samples is something that's affecting so many people. So if you can help in some way contribute, that would be nice. How are you keeping the identity of these people? Because you said you collect data from 20 people. How do you know that they are part of this group? You ask them. So
I already knew that. Before people I knew, and like they had.
So through them you got gathered. So maybe you can you can have a little larger population. Same way keeping their identity, not revealed, because they need privacy and anonymity. But I think it's very current and very good topic if we can, because this is an issue that many people who suffer in so many ways. So it will be contribution to their own welfare and also society. They can make it into a good paper, a very good diction when you speak. Very nice. Okay, good. There are some grammar mistakes in the text that you type. That you check, but you speak well, like our friend Vipashna, first and last.
We also had other good presenters, brother.
I missed it.
Yes. Radhika, I want to make one small suggestion. That, you can sit here. With regard to this theoretical, part, you can. We have in library we have one book written by Judith Butler, Gender Trouble. So you can read that book. There is another book, Second Sex by Simon D. Beauvoir. In library only you have, and please have a read, and it will help you a lot in your research. All right? Okay. So lastly, we have a very famous man footballer, Saurav Rai, and he will be presenting his paper on problems and opportunities of popular sport, football.
Good afternoon, the last one presents here. So I'm really thankful for you staying here, waiting for me to present the presentation on my research. So firstly, topic of my research is a sociological study of problems and opportunities of popular sport football in Darjeeling and problems and opportunities among the youths. So first I would like to introduce what is sport activity. An activity involving physical activity and skills in which individuals or teams compete with one another is actually a sport. And I have supported this definition by quoting Gottman, who defines sport as the work and play of physical activity. And I quoted some histories of footballs of Darjeeling. Football is the well-known and celebrated sport in Darjeeling. It has a rich legacy in Darjeeling. Darjeeling World Cup football tournament was once a celebrated fixture in football calendar. Gurkhas serving the British Army instituted the Gurkha Gold Cup, which started in 1975 with Mohan Bagan Academy became the first champions. The brigade Pema Bhutia stated that the Gurkha Gold Cup was sent from the Hong Kong to the district magistrate and the ex-officio president. This cup used to be held in October. The last Gurkha Gold Cup was held in 1985. The last champions were the East Bengals. Darjeeling Gymkhana Club, founded in 1909, and Gorkha Dukha Niwara, some founded in 1932, are the two of the founding clubs that runs and organize sports all over Darjeeling now. Gorkha Dukha Niwara, some founded in 1932, also known as IFA, Indian Football Association now, organize the oldest and the prestigious cup in Darjeeling, which is Hurley Cup, as well as the Malla Shield, Josgiri League, etc. Many teams from Sikkim and Bhutan also used to take place, used to participate in these tournaments. Famous clubs of Darjeeling like Darjeeling Dynamos, Tarun Khilkut, and Sangam and Singmani Lions were part of this tournament. I have reviewed some of the literatures like Glorious Football with Where is Darjeeling Football Today by Vivek Ranjan, where he talks about the Singmadi Lions heroes and how the Singmadi players used to play football and all the historic Darjeeling players. And the second review of literature is Soccer and Society. In this article, Ritesh Thapa has explained how football came into India through East India Company. My objectives of study is to understand the scope of football in Darjeeling Hills in relation to Lombok City Garden, and second is to understand problems of not being able to excel in football in this area. And the last one is to analyze people prospecting towards football as a career. The methodologies in the topics are, I have selected a topic, and the second one is the area. The area is Rambuk City Garden. I have selected this area because Darjeeling is a hilly area, and in hills there are many tea gardens, and players are also very professional in this sport in many tea garden areas. That's why I have selected this topic, and I have done census schedule and sampling. I have done simple random sampling, and I have done interviews and case studies. My findings are, as the area of my topic was tea garden, so the main problems faced by the players of these tea gardens are they could not finance properly, and the administrative of this football in the grassroots like the academies are not provided, and the coaches are also not professional in this field. We are not provided with proper coaches, and the main problem is that the Darjeeling football is used to playing 7-sided football. 11-sided football is usually seen in so many 2-3 tournaments, not in many tournaments. The usually tournaments are there in 7-sided format. In terms of trials and opportunities to get in clubs, usually the trials held in Darjeeling are manipulated by the political powers political powers. The references are some of these are some of these references. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the very interesting and wonderful presentation. Here I hand over this.
Okay, yes, wonderful presentation, Saurabh. First of all, I would like to know your sample size.
So currently I have 9 respondents, but I am sending more that questionnaire to more people.
Okay, so I think say definitely your research topic also has a good scope. But here you see, along with the questionnaire, I think you must also do some case studies. Okay, and for these case studies, veterans are the best persons whom you can really interact. Okay, I have one-on-one face-to-face interaction, and definitely because over the past our scenario of this particular football has changed, isn't it? And along with the veterans, you also, there are very renowned football clubs and associations like UKFC. Okay, there are other or as well where you can also go and talk to them, talk to these coaches because these associations are really providing very trained coaches, but definitely because they are all professional footballers. Okay, you also have to talk with the professional footballers, also with amateurs. Okay, because yes, a lot of things like and also incorporate like the initiative taken by Sports Authority of India. Okay, and similarly we have Conceptual Stadium is also there in the Siliguri, and along with that Lebong Stadium, where there is a stadium in Lebong where they are also providing training facilities by SAI, Sports Authority of India. So I think you really need to connect this. Overall, some of the problems that you have pointed out are in general, yes, no doubt, those are the thing, but I think some more in-depth studies required. Okay, thank you.
I think it's a very creative topic, and then it's very to which we cannot connect, especially football lovers. So I think it's okay. Maybe you have to more some more references, some more theoretical input. This is research work is not exactly like playing football. There's only activities. So you need to have a little more theoretical background to this. So you need to have, and we have lots of information available. So some more theoretical thing will help you to to bring out your points more strongly. And then of course expanding the scope. 9 is too few to be a proper sample size. Expanding not just 10, 20 or 30 something like that. Then for permanent research that would be a minimum kind of thing acceptable. So we can do that. I think we want to very good.
So now we come to an end of the presentation. So I'd like to request Sonam sir to kindly conclude the session by sharing some experiences and observation.
Thank you, Ms. Sophia. Yes, first of all, I'd like to congratulate all the paper presenters because you have really made some effort, in the course of time to prepare these presentations, and the time and the effort that you have put together, to come up with this wonderful research paper. And along with that, we have to know that there is always scope to do better. So I think a lot more serious work needs to be done. Okay, with no doubt all of you have done well, but there's the scope, and this is one of the reasons why we have organized this pre-sub seminar. Okay, the intention of this organizing this pre-submission seminar is to assess how much work that you have completed. Okay, what are the ideas that you have incorporated, and from the experts, the feedback that you have received from the experts, you need to incorporate them, okay? And I hope, we have genuinely given you some of the genuine feedbacks and you will incorporate them in your work, okay? So before you wind up your dissertation, you need to take care of these things, okay? The conceptual framework, theoretical framework, also, the methods that you have used, okay? You need to very much sure about, the kind of the methods that you have used are very much appropriate, okay, to the kind of research that you are doing, okay? Some of you really need to reformulate your research topic, work on your objectives. In general, these are the things in general that I've, pointing it out, but personally I've already given you some feedbacks, okay? So work on your this thing, objectives as well, and findings. And while writing your dissertation, please, you also take note of your quality. Okay, the spellings, the grammatical errors that are all there. Okay, and the graphs that you are using, the pictography, the analysis part. Also, I think in a very hasty manner you have done this presentation, but in fact we have some time, so you work on that, okay? And along with that, I would also like to extend in this moment the supervisors who have worked, along with you, okay, to guide you, okay, along with the, all the regular duties that we have, the teaching from 9 to 3 that we have, really personally face-to-face guiding each one of you. Okay, and definitely we also on our part, we have to look into that very minutely, and it is, you should make it a point that you come to us and then clarify each and everything, whether this is appropriate or not, whether this is right or not, because once we give you some suggestions, we don't know whether you have really incorporated that or not, or you have changed something. And also keep in your mind the plagiarism, okay? It's not just about copy pasting, okay, that you have copied from somewhere, cited, okay, citations and everything, though we don't have, we are not implying the tools to, kind of sort of analyze the whole plagiarism setup, but please don't take it very lightly, okay? Since this is a, under UC research, but from yourself, you must follow that ethical part. As a researcher, since you are very, very young, you are in a very nascent stage, but I would prescribe that you do follow that research ethics part, okay, because you will develop this habit generally, over a period of time. Okay, and yes, overall as a department, I would like to thank all my colleagues, all my students, okay, for making this happen. And yes, as overall as a department, we are trying hard, okay, to grow and take up this particular, identify ourselves as a purely academic department, and it is, okay, all over the world, all over India and all over the world, this is the purely academic, but lot of, since we also have second year students who will be promoted, and they'll be in the third year, so this is basically the learning process, and we wanted this to happen, isn't it really, that see, for the first time these third years are taken up, but next year, you will need to do this research with lot of vigor, with lot of seriousness, and I hope from the very beginning of this the new academic season, we will start very much serious work with your dissertation, because the 6 months duration that university has provided us for field work is not sufficient enough to conclude one dissertation, okay? So at least we are extending this, and we will be starting from 5th semester as well, okay? So some primary groundwork we can do from 5th semester itself, like choosing the research area, okay, finding the topics, and some secondary data can be looked into, and trying to construct the theories and all the fieldwork portion that is left, we can do it in 6th semester, okay? So overall, I would like to congratulate you. There's a lot of things that you need to incorporate, okay? So with this, I would like to keep it short. Thank you.
Thank you, Salam sir. I'd also like to request Brother Jose to share his observation and your valuable recitation in general. We'll be very grateful if you do so.
Here and the few, I think this for the effort, for the effort that we have made and the beginning that we have made, I think is very good. So now we have time. I don't think we can expect a lot more from the 30 years. Or they can fine tune their work and make it whatever extent possible. I am thinking of the second years who are sitting here, few are here, two are here, three are here. Others who are there, so based building on what they have kind of started, we can take it further and make it with a complete 1 year research with proper data and samples and proper studies. So that's something good. But in the meantime, for all those who have for the effort that you have made within the short limited time that we have had, you did an excellent job. Take those ideas which we are giving you and then make it as best as we can within the limited time that we have. Okay. But this, keeping in mind this concept of research is always important. That we always critically analyze any information and we study scientifically. That attitude must always be, whatever it be. That's very important, and if you do that, I'm sure you will improve yourself, whether you're here or anywhere else you're studying. So keep that attitude of open, critical attitude to any learning. Thank you to Samir sir and Sophia ma'am and everyone else who have been part of this process of this research. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Brother Jose. Now we come to an end of this seminar. And in the end, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Father Rector, Father Tommy, Principal Father Jose Tadali, Vice Principal Brother Jose, and also to Dr. Terence, IQSC Coordinator. And a special thanks to our HODs and Mr. Tarif Century. Because of his year effort, we made this happen actually. And also to Sudarshan, who came and helped us. Please clap for him. Although the faculty members are not here, they actually made immense effort to supervise you all. And last but not the least, congratulations to all the presenters. Despite having a very packed schedules, preparing for your internals and also doing your assignments, preparing for your class tests and doing typing dissertation and all, you all made this thing happen. And it gives us immense proud to say this thing that we are the first department to do this kind of seminar, and special thanks goes to Samipsa obviously and also to all the presenters. And I wish you all the very best for your upcoming exams, not only for your upcoming exams but also for your life. And you will become a great, scholars, a great research scholars one day. And thank you for taking effort, and thank you for all your patience. Thank you very much.
We have a group photograph. Okay, we'll do the thing.